Sorry for the long post, but I'm effectively just letting this pour out of me. I am 29, have had an emotional affair on my GF, F33, with Coworker, F26. I want to start this off by saying that I'm not looking for anyone's sympathy whatsoever. I know my actions were horrible and I deeply regret them. I expect a lot of criticism, and it's earned. But the whole reason for this post is to better myself and try and learn from my mistakes. Some background. My GF and I have been together for 8 years, and for the most part have been extremely happy. We are both from different countries but met in my home country, where we lived together for 5 years. Eventually we decided to immigrate to her hometown, with the view of having a better quality of life and a place to live long term. The move was somewhat stressful for both of us. Applying for permanent residency can be a long, grueling process, with the weight of the decision hanging over your head. To make matters worse, the pandemic began shortly after applying, which delayed things considerably. I wasn't able to work until I received my work permit, was unable to socialize, and ended up feeling very alone and depressed. There was an unhealthy dynamic in the household where only one was earning money, and it definitely seeped into how we interacted with each other. I became defensive, assumed that normal comments were digs. I also feel that the dynamic heavily affected our sex life. I won't go into it fully, but in the year it took to receive my PR, I believe we had only slept together twice. Halfway through my PR application, about 6 months, I received my work permit. I was able to get a part-time job, not doing what I wanted, but it was temporary. This was when I met my coworker. At the beginning we got on fine. We weren't working side by side but would see each other day to day. There wasn't really any flirting, and honestly I wasn't attracted to her. I would also talk about my GF regularly at work. It was all very platonic. For the next 8 months things continued in the same way. My co-worker and I got on, but strictly as friends. She was seeing someone at that time and would also talk about him. Things began to change though. She became single, which I wasn't aware of. We began talking more at work, had some similar interests, and it helped the days go by, but things definitely did become more flirty. We had never talked outside of work bar the odd work-related text. But she began to text me, and I replied. Eventually it became more and more regular. It took a turn one evening when we had a text conversation over the course of a couple of hours. The context was innocent, it was general talk you'd expect to see between friends, but I was doing it whilst watching TV with my GF. My GF saw me texting and looked at my phone, saw a string of messages and rightfully got upset. I was defensive. I didn't see what was wrong with talking to someone who I was friends with. This would have been my opportunity to learn, but I didn't. A few nights later my CW and I were in conversation again, and whilst there was nothing insidious I began deleting the messages. At this point I knew it was wrong, yet I continued. I've had a lot of time to reflect on this situation, and this isn't meant to come across as justification. I was lonely, I felt neglected, but I was also selfish, dishonest, and it felt good to have attention. My deleting of texts was instantly caught. I explained the content of the messages, but that wasn't the point, and deleting them made things way worse. I became attached to our text communication. She was a friend, it was a bit flirty, and it continued. I very stupidly confided in her that I was having trouble in my relationship. Big mistake, I opened the door. I knew I should have kept it closed, but I did it anyway. I can't fully explain the feelings I was having at this point, and I don't want to make this post drag even longer, but to summarize, I felt trapped. I aired my frustrations to my GF, and it shocked her. It felt very much like we were going to break up, but we talked things through and decided to try. I raised issues almost as an ultimatum, and it really got through, and my GF, bless her, did everything she could. I handled it terribly, it was way too one way. She would try, I was half-arsing things. And it was me with the problem, but when my CW would contact me, I would reply. Our conversations continued and became much more explicit. She told me how she felt about me. I reciprocated, but it wasn't fully genuine. She was artificially filling a void in a relationship that I had been very happy with. It may not seem like it, but I love my girlfriend deeply. I am more attracted to her, we have more in common, we have history, she is my best friend, but I was no longer feeling alive. Flash forward and my CW is having people to her place for a work party. Things are fine, we talk some but there are lots of people and no one-on-one time. People leave, I stay longer, and it's just the two of us. We kiss. I stop it and leave. I made a 10-minute drive last 30. Thinking about how stupid the whole situation was. I hadn't ever really pictured it as a physical thing, it felt so distanced over text, I guess that's how I justified it. I also never once stopped to think that this other person was developing actual feeling for me. Just incredible ignorance on my behalf. From there I try to distance from each other, we talk less apart from a couple of occasions where I break and we talk. It turns sexual and I know I'm just cheating at this point. I hate myself for what I'm doing to my GF and to my CW for what is effectively emotional/text porn. I'm not even masturbating to this, it's purely the stimulant of someone being interested in my physically and expressing it like that. I decide to end things, stop communication, and things become ugly. She wants to be with me, I don't feel the same. My reflection made me realize how much I value what I have. My CW worker begins to hint at threats of exposing our relationship. When I persist, it becomes overt. Screenshots of messages that I didn't send, made to look like they were from me. It's not perfect, there are some giveaways that it's not me, but it's close enough that it's believable. I can't be sure, but I even think I've had things taken from my bag at work. It's at the point where I am in effect being blackmailed. There have been no demands as such, other than she wants me. I firmly want to be with my GF and put this all behind us, there isn't the slightest doubt about that. I haven't raised it yet with my GF, I am terrified. Terrified of hurting her, and the outcome. But I know that I probably have to. Things have improved massively between us, but I have this hanging over my head and it feels unfair to keep it a secret. So I guess my question is, how should I move forward? Is the best course of action to sit my GF down and explain everything? Truly, I want to put my own interests aside and move forward correctly. I feel it would be naive again to not air this to some people with objectivity.